There are some moments that seem almost too simple to become unforgettable, yet somehow they stay with people long after the cameras disappear. A sudden visit, an unexpected appearance, a familiar face arriving at exactly the moment nobody expected it. And that is the feeling surrounding this sweet Shanghai moment involving Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei. A moment that immediately sparks curiosity because sometimes the smallest surprise can reveal more emotion than the most carefully planned public appearance. Imagine the atmosphere of Shanghai moving at its usual unstoppable rhythm, the streets filled with lights, cars, conversations, and people rushing from one destination to another, while somewhere away from the noise, Tian Xiwei is simply going about her day, completely unaware that something unexpected may be about to happen. There is no dramatic announcement, no warning that would prepare anyone for what comes next. Then suddenly, Zhang Linghe appears, turning an ordinary moment into something that feels remarkably special. The beauty of a surprise like this is not necessarily in how spectacular it looks from the outside, but in the reaction it creates. Surprise changes a person's expression before they have time to hide it. A smile appears naturally, the eyes brighten, the atmosphere becomes lighter, and when two familiar faces share that kind of unexpected moment, even a simple encounter can feel like an entire story unfolding in front of everyone. What makes the Shanghai setting feel even more fascinating is the contrast between the enormous energy of the city and the quiet intimacy of an unexpected meeting. Shanghai is a place where everything seems to move quickly, yet moments like this invite people to slow down and notice the little details. The anticipation surrounding the surprise becomes part of the story. What was Tian Xiwei expecting that day? Was she prepared for anything unusual, or was the appearance completely outside her expectations? And what could have inspired Zhang Linghe to make such an unexpected gesture? The title itself creates those questions without giving away every answer, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes the moment so intriguing. When someone suddenly appears without warning, the emotional impact can be completely different from a planned meeting. There is no time to prepare the perfect reaction, no opportunity to rehearse what to say or how to respond. Everything happens naturally, and that natural quality is what makes viewers so interested. A genuine smile can say more than a long speech. A surprised expression can become more memorable than a carefully staged photograph. Even a few seconds of shared attention can create a feeling that stays in people's minds. For fans following Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei, the fascination becomes even stronger because their on-screen chemistry has already created a powerful connection in the imagination of viewers. Whenever two actors who have shared memorable scenes appear together in real-life moments, people naturally become curious about the difference between performance and reality. On screen, emotion follows a story. Characters meet because the script demands it. They laugh because the scene requires laughter, become emotional because the story leads them there, and share meaningful looks because the director wants the audience to notice them. Away from the drama, however, there is no fictional storyline controlling every second. That is why an unexpected encounter can feel so interesting. Viewers begin looking at the smallest details, wondering what is spontaneous and what is simply the warmth between two people who know each other well. A surprise in Shanghai suddenly becomes more than a meeting. It becomes a moment that invites endless interpretation. And perhaps that is why fans melt over moments like this. It is not necessarily because something enormous happened. Sometimes it is because nothing needs to happen. The charm is in the simplicity. Someone arrives unexpectedly, another person realizes who has appeared, and for a brief moment the world around them seems to disappear. There is something universally relatable about being surprised by someone you are happy to see. It can instantly change the mood of an entire day. The exhaustion of work can disappear for a moment. The pressure of schedules can become less important. A person who was expecting an ordinary day suddenly finds themselves smiling because someone familiar has walked into the scene. That emotional shift is what makes these moments so powerful, and it is easy to understand why fans would immediately pay attention to every detail surrounding such an encounter. The mystery becomes even more captivating when we consider what might have been happening just before the surprise. Perhaps Xiwei was focused on her own schedule, thinking about the next responsibility waiting for her. Perhaps the day had already been long and demanding. Perhaps she had no reason at all to believe that Zhang Linghe would suddenly appear. That is what makes the idea of a surprise so effective. The person receiving it does not have the luxury of preparing emotionally. The reaction happens instantly. The expression on the face changes before the mind fully catches up. And in a world where celebrities often have carefully managed public appearances, those unexpected reactions can feel particularly precious to viewers. They remind fans that behind the glamorous photographs, interviews, performances, and red carpets are people who can still be caught off guard by a familiar face. Zhang Linghe's role in the moment also creates another layer of curiosity. A surprise requires intention. Someone has to decide to show up, choose the timing, and accept the possibility that the other person might react in a completely unexpected way. That decision alone can make fans wonder about the thought behind the gesture. Was it simply a friendly surprise between colleagues? Was it connected to their busy schedules? Was it an opportunity to bring some happiness into an otherwise ordinary day? The title does not provide those answers, and perhaps that is part of its appeal. Instead of presenting a complete explanation, it opens a door and allows viewers to imagine the atmosphere surrounding the moment while remembering that only the people involved truly know what the encounter meant to them. Xiwei's reaction becomes especially important because surprise has a way of revealing emotion without requiring dramatic words. When someone sees an unexpected person, the first reaction is often instinctive. A pause, a smile, a look of disbelief, maybe a laugh that comes naturally because the situation is so unexpected. Those tiny details can become the emotional center of an entire story. Fans may replay the moment, not because they are searching for some hidden confession, but because genuine reactions are simply enjoyable to watch. There is warmth in seeing someone caught completely off guard in a positive way. It makes a glamorous public figure seem more relatable and human. Shanghai itself almost becomes another character in the story. The city is known for its mixture of modern energy, glowing streets, towering buildings, busy neighborhoods, and quiet corners where unexpected memories can happen. Against that backdrop, the idea of a sudden meeting feels cinematic without needing anything exaggerated. The city continues moving while two people share a moment that seems to belong only to them. Cars continue passing, lights continue shining, people continue rushing toward the destinations. Yet somewhere within all that movement, an unexpected encounter creates a pause. That contrast between a huge city and a small personal moment is what gives the story its emotional atmosphere. There is also something beautiful about the uncertainty surrounding moments like this. Fans often want explanations immediately. They want to know where the meeting happened, why it happened, what was said, how long it lasted, and what each person was thinking. But sometimes the absence of those answers makes the moment even more memorable. Mystery allows emotion to remain at the center. Instead of reducing the encounter to a simple explanation, fans can appreciate the warmth of what they actually saw. The surprise itself becomes the memory, while everything else remains open to interpretation. What makes this story particularly engaging is the difference between expectation and reality. When viewers hear about a celebrity appearance, they often imagine a formal event, a stage, flashing cameras, prepared speeches, and carefully planned interactions. But a surprise is completely different. It breaks that pattern. It takes something ordinary and suddenly gives it emotional weight. That is why the idea of Zhang Linghe unexpectedly appearing in Shanghai can feel so powerful. The setting does not need a grand stage. The moment does not need elaborate choreography. The emotional impact comes from the unexpected nature of the encounter itself. For Xiwei, being surprised by someone familiar could turn an ordinary day into a memorable one. For Zhang Linghe, making that appearance could be a simple gesture, But simple gestures can carry extraordinary emotional meaning depending on the circumstances. Sometimes people remember not the expensive gifts or elaborate celebrations, but the person who showed up when they were not expecting anyone. Presence itself can be meaningful. Someone taking time out of a busy schedule to appear unexpectedly can create a memory that lasts far longer than the moment itself. And this is where fans begin to connect emotionally with the story. Many people understand what it feels like to receive an unexpected visit from someone they appreciate. It creates a sudden burst of happiness that is difficult to manufacture. There is no script for that feeling. There is simply the warmth of knowing that someone thought about you enough to make the effort. That universal emotion is perhaps why a celebrity moment can resonate so strongly with viewers around the world. Behind the names, the fame, and the cameras, the basic emotion remains familiar. The excitement surrounding Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei also comes from the way fans naturally pay attention to their interactions. Their shared screen history can make even a casual real-world encounter feel significant to viewers. People remember the characters they played, the emotional scenes they shared, and the chemistry that made those performances memorable. When those memories overlap with a real-life appearance, the imagination naturally becomes more active. Fans start wondering whether the warmth they see is simply friendship, professional familiarity, or something else entirely. But without direct confirmation, those questions remain questions, and it is important to separate fan interpretation from established reality. The sweetness of the moment does not require a romantic explanation. Sometimes two people can simply share a genuinely warm connection, and that alone can be worth celebrating. Perhaps the most beautiful part of the entire situation is the possibility that neither person expected the moment to become such a talking point. A private feeling surprise can suddenly become a public memory once fans discover it. What might have been a brief interaction becomes something discussed across social media, replayed in clips, analyzed through photographs, and remembered through countless reactions. That is the strange nature of modern celebrity culture. A few seconds can travel around the world almost instantly. A smile can become a trending topic. A surprise can become a story. Yet beneath all the excitement, there is a quieter message. The most memorable moments are often not the ones that are planned to impress people. They are the moments that feel sincere. A surprise works because it interrupts routine. It tells someone that today does not have to remain ordinary. It creates a small space for happiness in the middle of a busy schedule. And when that moment involves two people whose performances have already captured the attention of so many viewers, the emotional reaction becomes even stronger. That is why this Shanghai encounter feels so captivating. It is not simply about a famous actor appearing unexpectedly. It is about the emotional power of being surprised by someone familiar, about the warmth created when an ordinary day suddenly changes direction, and about the way a spontaneous moment can become unforgettable without needing to be dramatic. Zhang Linghe's unexpected appearance creates curiosity, Tian Ziwei's reaction creates warmth, and the Shanghai setting gives the entire moment an atmosphere that feels almost like a scene from a film. But unlike a scripted drama, the magic comes from the uncertainty. Nobody watching knows exactly what happened beyond the moment itself, and that leaves room for the emotion to breathe. As the excitement continues, one thing becomes clear: fans are not only reacting to the surprise itself. They are reacting to what the surprise represents. It represents thoughtfulness, familiarity, spontaneity, and the kind of happiness that arrives without warning. It reminds people that even in a world filled with cameras and public appearances, there can still be moments that feel surprisingly genuine. And perhaps that is why this little Shanghai moment has such a big emotional impact. Sometimes the most unforgettable stories begin without an announcement, without preparation, and without anyone realizing that they are creating a memory. A city as enormous as Shanghai can make people feel like tiny figures moving through an endless stream of activity, but every once in a while, a personal moment creates its own little world. Someone appears unexpectedly. Someone smiles in surprise. The noise of the city fades into the background, even if only for a few seconds, and suddenly the entire story becomes about that one encounter. For fans watching from far away, those seconds can feel surprisingly meaningful because they offer a glimpse of warmth beyond the polished world of celebrity appearances. And maybe that is the real reason this moment has captured so much attention. It does not need to prove anything about a relationship, and it does not need a dramatic revelation to be memorable. Its charm comes from the unexpected happiness of the encounter itself. Zhang Linghe showing up in Shanghai, Tian Xiwei being caught by surprise, and fans watching the moment unfold creates a simple emotional equation that is difficult to resist. Surprise creates curiosity, curiosity creates excitement, and genuine warmth turns that excitement into a memory people want to revisit. In the end, what remains is not the noise surrounding the moment, but the feeling it creates. A sudden appearance can become a reminder that the best memories are often the ones we never planned. A smile can become more powerful than a speech. A few unexpected seconds can become a story that fans continue discussing long after the moment has passed. And somewhere in the bright, restless energy of Shanghai, what began as a surprise becomes something much larger in the imagination of everyone watching. A sweet little moment that made an ordinary day feel extraordinary, leaving fans smiling, wondering, and waiting to see what unforgettable moment might come next.